Hey everybody, it's Amy, and it is time for Got a Minute with Amy. And today's question actually doesn't come from any of you realtors. It comes from one of my clients. And I figured if my client's asking me, your client is probably going to ask you the same question, and we better have a good answer. So the question is Amy, you're selling our kitty condo and it's rented until next year. We really love our tenants and we want to make sure that the new landlord doesn't change the terms of the lease. We don't want them to raise the rent. But Amy, you didn't write anything on the sales contract that said he couldn't change the lease. In fact, all you wrote on the sales contract was that the lease and the deposits were going to transfer. How do I protect my tenant? Well, first of all, let's break this down. The lease is an agreement between the landlord and the tenant. That is one contract. And this agreement is for possession and use of the property for a certain amount of time for a certain amount of dollars. That is an agreement between these two parties. The contract of sale is a different agreement, and it has different people. This is between the buyer and the seller. And while in both cases, the seller and the landlord may be the same, the other party is not. So you can't use the terms of this to change the terms of that because you've got different people. So how do we protect the tenant? Well, the contract actually says that when we sell the property in Virginia, we have to follow the rules of Virginia law. So the lease was signed first. It is in first position. It is for a certain amount of time and it cannot be changed. It's an encumbrance on the property. The purchaser is aware of it because we wrote on the contract that the lease and the deposits are going to be assigned. So he is buying this property aware that this lease or this encumbrance is in place for a certain amount of time and he can't change it. It says that in the Virginia tenant rights. And we can give a copy of the tenant rights to the seller or the purchaser so that they understand. And I've got a copy of that actually right here. So if you want a PDF of that, I can send that to you too. It goes all over the rights of what tenants' rights are. So that is how the property can be sold without any fear that the lease is going to change for the tenant. Now, I can't say that the new landlord's going to be a nice person. I can't do that. All I can say is contractually, he has to honor the existing lease that was in place before he bought the property, and Virginia law, tenants' rights, says that. So hopefully that makes sense to people, that they understand that nothing can change. The lease was in place first, and it's going to transfer. Now, property management agreement, that's a question for another episode. We're going to have to talk about that one in a different time. We'll talk to you later.